This is the 3 Arts Workshop Week 4. This week, we're thinking about objects and complements in grammar. A direct object is the word denoting that which is directly affected by the action of the verb. John eats a donut. The verb is eats. The subject is John. What is directly affected by the action of the verb, the eating? The donut. That's our direct. We have a distinction in grammar between transitive and intransitive verbs. Transitive verbs take an object. Intransitive verbs do not. The first sentence has a transitive verb, beautify, because it takes an object. Backyard. The backyard is the thing that's being beautified. The second sentence has an intransitive verb, because the flowers don't bloom anything, they just bloom. This is an important distinction to remember because sentences with transitive verbs take direct objects. And so the question is, how do you diagram a sentence with a transitive verb and a direct object? Let's take a look. Subject, verb, direct object. There's a vertical line between the subject and the verb as always. There's also a half a vertical line between the verb and the direct object. I'll show you how to diagram this kind of thing with an example sentence. In the kitchen, Edward chopped carrots angrily. I draw my horizontal line, my vertical line, and then I ask, what's the action? What's the main verb? Chopped. Okay, I put that down in my verb section. Then who or what is chopping? Edward. He goes in the subject field. Now, I have some remaining words. Let's take it piece by piece. I think, okay, is this a transitive or intransitive verb? Is something being chopped? Is there a direct object in the sentence? Yes, carrots is the direct object. That's the thing being chopped. So I draw my half vertical line and I put carrots in the direct object field. I have only a few words to clean up after this main core of the sentence has been dealt with. I have in the kitchen, which I know is a prepositional phrase, and I know is adverbial because it's answering the question where Edward chopped carrots angrily. So I put it underneath my verb, like so. And I have remaining the word angrily. What part of speech is that? That's an adverb because it answers the question how. How did he chop carrots in the kitchen angrily? That's how. I put it underneath the verb. Okay, now on to indirect objects. What's an indirect object? The indirect object is the person or thing affected by the occurrence of an action, although not directly or primarily acted on, as in the direct object. Joyce gave me 2 tickets to Fenway. The verb is gave. The subject is Joyce. The direct object is tickets. That's the thing being given. But the tickets are being given to me. That's the indirect object. I am the indirect object in the sentence. Here's how you diagram this kind of construction. The indirect object, just like the object of the preposition and prepositional phrase, goes on a horizontal line from a descending diagonal line, and you sometimes have 2 on that descending diagonal line. Always put the indirect object on the horizontal line, even if 2 is not there for etc. Example. We already gave him the scoop. Horizontal line, vertical line. Then we locate the verb, gave, put that on the horizontal line. We locate the subject, we, put that on the horizontal line. Then we locate the direct object, scoop, the thing given. We put that after the half vertical line. And then ask, who is being affected by this action. What is the indirect object? Him. So here I put him on a horizontal line from a descending diagonal line beneath the verb. Now we have two words left, already and the. Already, we can see, is an adverb because it answers the question, when. We put that beneath gave, and then we put the word the, article, modifier, beneath the noun it modifies, scoop. We already gave him the scoop. The important thing to see here is how we put the indirect object him on a horizontal line beneath the verb. The subject complement is an adjective, noun, or pronoun linked to a subject by a linking verb. If you don't know what a linking verb is, you might want to look it up. Some form of to be, being verbs, like is, was, will be, was being. The subject complement comes on the other side of the linking verb after the subject. Here's an example. The air was drowsy with its weight of perfume. Was is our linking verb, the subject, air, and our subject complement, predicate adjective, is drowsy. Here's how you diagram a subject complement in relation to the rest of the sentence. We put it after a half line, but not a straight up and down half line like we put before the direct object. We use this backwards leaning slanty line. That precedes our subject complement, divides it from the linking verb. Let's go back to that sentence we were looking at a moment ago. The air was drowsy with its weight of perfume. I draw my baseline, my vertical line. Then I ask, what's the verb? Was. That's our linking verb, so that goes right where we put every verb. Who or what was drowsy with its weight of perfume? Air. That goes in the subject spot. Okay. Now, the subject complement is the thing that's being linked to the subject by the linking verb. So here that's drowsy, and we put that after our backwards leaning slanty line. Okay, now I have these remaining words, with its weight of perfume. What do I do with these? Each of these units is a prepositional phrase, and I can tell from the totality of the sentence that they are linked together with its weight of perfume. With its weight is adverbial because it's telling me under what conditions the air was drowsy. Of perfume, I can tell is adjectival because it's describing weight. What kind of weight? The weight of perfume. So I put the first beneath the verb with its weight, and I put the second beneath the object of the preposition in the first prepositional phrase of perfume. And I've diagrammed my sentence. Here's a caveat. Was, is, are. You'll see these words in some cases in which they're not being used as linking verbs. For example, I was on the clock. Here, was isn't linking I to clock or anything like that. I'm just saying intransitively I was and modifying that statement of being with the prepositional phrase on the clock. On the clock being used adverbially to express how I was being. Right? I would diagram it like this. I, the subject, was, and the verb, and then this descending adverbial structure. Let's say in closing that the direct object is the object receiving the action of a transitive verb, we put it after a vertical half line. An indirect object is something affected by the action but not directly, and it goes on a horizontal line descending from the verb. A subject complement is what's linked to the subject of a sentence that contains a linking verb. Take a look at these structures and be ready to diagram direct objects, indirect objects, and subject complements when we come to the quiz.